What's going on, guys? So today I want to show you how we care for our juvenile sailfin dragons. So first of all, the juveniles are held in these 2 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot grow tents. These grow tents work really good for sailfin dragons because they need a lot of humidity. Now these guys are starting to get close to the point where we're gonna move them to a bigger grow tent, but this 2 by 4 by 2 works perfect for babies. Like we got a couple smaller ones over here that aren't growing as fast. These are imported from the wild and everything. So like one of these guys we're treating for parasites right here, but the other ones all seem to have no problem and are growing very rapidly, very quickly. You can see this one right here is growing rapidly and quickly and doesn't have an issue. So we're actually gonna probably wind up moving that one to this grow tent. So this one has the one that is growing small and potentially has a parasite load. So we treated her, you've seen that in a past video. And then these ones are the second largest. So they're not as big as the ones that are gonna be in the tub to the right over here, but pretty cool. You can start to see the sail coming in there, the sail on the back of the neck. This one actually might wind up proving to be a boy. So we'll see. I'm growing all of these up. We have 15 of them because I really want to see what sex that these wind up turning into, and possibly starting a large captive breeding population for these guys. Humidity should be nice and high. Let's see if we could catch it. So the ambient temp down there is, it's hard to see, but it's probably about 86, 85, 86 with 75% humidity. And sometimes that humidity can even go up into the 80s or 90s. And then these are the big ones over here as well. So you can see these guys, how they chill. We got these Mega Ray 100, let me double check. They're the 160. And the 160 produces a decent amount of heat. So you definitely don't want the 160 in a small cage, but this 4 foot cage right here is pretty good. And then we do have some ventilation in the back. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but there is some airflow and fresh ventilation that's coming in down there. And so my task today, because we do this about every 2 days, is emptying their water because they are such a water-bound species. I have plans in the future to actually build a filtration system into each one of their cages, but for now we are just changing the water out on a daily or every other day basis. And they definitely destroy it because they'll poop in there, they'll eat their worms in there. Now there have been times where I've gone longer than a day, sometimes even 3 to 4 days, but I really wouldn't recommend that. What I would recommend, if possible for you, is 1 to 2 day max, changing out that water. Now they're primarily going to be insectivores growing up. So you can see all the way down at the bottom right there, they do really, really well off mealworms. You could do superworms as well. Sometimes I'll throw some fruits and veggies in there, mainly veggies, because fruits get really moldy in here and it'll create like a lot of flies and just like a more nasty environment with the fruit. It's tougher to clean the food bowl. Once they're older, like if you watch our older sailfin dragon videos, then they'll primarily be on fruit and vegetables and then some larger insects. See, I just emptied these guys' water and I'm getting ready to fill it brand new. So I will show you how I do that. All right, I'm gonna ask for Whitney's help with this. I just surprised her with being on camera, but I wanted to show you her little Princess Leia thingy that she has. So what does this thing do again?
Okay, so this is a heatless hair curler. Okay. It's like a long wire that's covered in this satiny thingy. Okay. And then you like put it on top of your head and then on the middle, and then you wrap your hair around it. Yeah. And then when I take it out, my hair is gonna be like all curly. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but you actually have the same eye color as the cat. So we'll see if we can see, you see the cat, Effie, hi baby. And then we can see Whitney's eyes. It's the exact same thing, it's so cool. All right, so for these juveniles, which are about
18 to 24 inches in length here. We use 12 quart tubs, and like I said, we change them out every other day. These guys are like popcorn in here. Sailfins can become very, very trainable, but when you got multiple in here, one's gonna spook the other and they'll run around a little bit. Plus, I really haven't worked on training with these guys yet. My main goal with them is to grow them up and create a captive source for the United States to be able to breed the giant black sailfin dragons. So that's my goal right now, is not necessarily training. So I need to be very careful as I'm going in there and grabbing these water bowls that they don't pop out and run outside. So this is how I do it. I put the zippers to the grow tent about halfway down, maybe slightly less than that. And that way I'm not opening the door, because if I open the door, they're gonna freak. So all I'm gonna do is go in through the bottom right here. I'm gonna grab out this. So you can hear them jumping around slightly, but now they're done. Zip that back up, and then I will rinse this outside. Now it does help if the area that you're rinsing these, or if you have an industrial sink, is close by, because it is a lot of water. And like I said, you're gonna have poop in it, so you definitely want an area where you can kind of scrub it and clean it well.
Yeah, and he does it right by the back door.
It's good for the tree. I don't know if you guys ever do this, but I use my fingers to rub all the slimy and the grime out of the water bowl, so it's nice and squeaky clean. Okay, now I used to fill these up right away, but I actually noticed it's easier to empty all the tubs first and then fill them all up at the same time later on. So I'm gonna put this back empty. Make sure that none of the animals are close to the door when I do this. And I just put that back in. And good, it's so humid in there, it kind of smells like, not too bad, but it kind of reminds me of like going fishing with my dad or at the beach. I don't feed these guys fish, but you definitely can feed them fish. But insects and vegetables and fruit is going to be the base of their diet in captivity. All right, now this gal right here, which you're starting to see in some videos, she used to be classified as a Hydrosaurus weberi, but now I believe the proper classification is going to be Hydrosaurus amboinensis. They did a reclassification system. Another thing that's good about these grow tents is that they have soft walls, so if the animal runs into the wall, they're not gonna hurt themselves, because sailfin dragons are known to kind of damage the front of their face. When I was experimenting with different cages, I experimented keeping her outside in a large cage, and she damaged her face a little bit, but it's pretty much healed now for the most part. But soft walls are gonna be good. It holds humidity, holds heat really well. You want an ambient temperature of like 85 to 90, and then you want a hot spot of like 100 to 110. That's perfect for these guys. 12 quart water bowl for an animal of this size. She's pretty much full grown for the amboinensis variant. And a lot of these guys came into captivity and they were mixed species and subspecies. But in general, she was classified as a weberi, and more or less will be classified now as an amboinensis. That's pretty cool to say, amboinensis. Really interesting thing is they love wiry vines and stuff. So like at night, she'll actually jump up on this wire. Even though I secured it to like the ceiling and thought she wouldn't get to it, she kind of plucked it away, and then now it's like a little hammock for her, you know? So if it ever causes an issue, then I can, you know, really deal with it and secure it to the top, but it hasn't really caused an issue or anything like that. This is actually the first time I've seen her poop outside of her water bowl. Normally this girl is very good at always pooping in the water bowl. And the other thing that's really important for sailfins is not having multiple areas of glass or see-through window, because they don't understand the concept of see-through glass, and they'll constantly bash their face into it. So these grow tents that don't really have a lot of visible windows or glass is actually perfect for them. All right, so we actually named this one Phineas when we thought it was a boy, because it's growing those fins, but girls can also grow low fins, and that's why at her age right now, 3 to 4 year range, I definitely think she's female, because the fins are not really well developed, but she does have a little fin. Cool thing about sailfins is they don't bite. They're very reluctant to bite. They can be a little flighty in their cage, but once you get them out, you can really just let them sit on your arm, and they might have moments where they're flighty, but for the most part, they're very manageable and they don't bite, which is the main thing. They do have sharp nails, which is an issue. See, you can kind of, I'm just gonna, just like a leopard gecko. There we go. Just like a leopard gecko, I'm just gonna let her spend her energy and then watch. She's gonna run out of energy, and just like a leopard gecko, she will sit in my hand. But her nails are ridiculously sharp. I mean, this species they're meant to climb trees 100 feet tall in the wild. And so her nails will really cut you up. I recommend having a glove or something. Can you get a good shot of her? Mm-hmm. I think maybe she jumped up and maybe either burned herself on the bulb. They're very athletic animals, very athletic, truly amazing. And in Indonesia, they will tame these guys down to sit on their shoulders. It's absolutely ridiculous. My #1 goal right now for working with, especially the big black ones, as rare as they are, I want to create a captive population of them. And then throughout the next couple of decades, we could look at domesticating them in the way that the Indonesians have them domesticated, where they just walk around on leashes, they sit outside of shops on just a stick or a log, and they're very well trained. See, she sees the cat right here. They're very observational animals. But you can see, reluctant to bite. As skittish as she was, not gonna bite, not gonna bite. Amazing animal. So I'm gonna put her back and show you how we fill her water dish here. So she was the last one on this road to fill up water. So now that all the water tubs are empty, I'm just gonna come and give her fresh water. They love humidity, love water. I've even kept this girl at like 90 to 95+% humidity for long periods of time, and she really seems to like it. They don't get respiratory infections because they're meant to live in like Indonesia and stuff, where it is, you know, close to 100% humidity at some points. In general though, like I try to keep the humidity between 75 to 85, but if there are times where you go higher than that, I'm sure it's okay, because with this girl, there have been times where her humidity has been 90+ for long periods of time, and I've never noticed any issues. I've noticed they shed better that way. They seem to thrive and like it better in a more humid environment. So there we go. She's gonna jump in there and splash around. So I don't know if you want to look at that real quick, hun. Get a little closer to that. But I left a little bit of a like 1/2 inch lip right there, just so that this doesn't get too full, because she's gonna splash around in here. And in about 2 days, like look at my hand right there. Look at that. You can see that's from her nail. Just one little nail, and she's just a small one. Imagine the big black one that we have. Crazy. But yeah, in about 2 days when I change this next, this will be evaporated and a little bit lower and easier to manage and pull out of here. And the last thing before Whitney goes, for these taller ones, I find it easier to just open the top flap and then shoot the water down in there. So if you want to grab a quick video picture of that, hun, showing me shooting the water in there. And then this is also a chance for me to increase the humidity in the cage by like putting water into the substrate. So I can see right now the temperature at the very bottom of the cage is 87 degrees with, it was 59% humidity, but then as soon as I sprayed there, it became 61. So that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna give these guys a little bit of water, a little bit of wetness around here. You typically want the humidity 75 to 85% would be my recommendation. I just love seeing them on their water bowl. They'll oftentimes jump right onto the lip of the water and just take like a sauna bubble bath in there while you're filling it up. I've noticed this with these guys. They will eat the shed off of their skin sometimes, so you'll see them kind of biting at their own toes and stuff to peel the shed off. They are extremely sensitive to low humidity. If you do not have enough humidity, they will not shed very well, and that shed will become stuck on their skin, and it could become an issue for restricting blood flow to tail tips and fingertips, and they could lose fingers that way. That happened with one of my earliest baby sailfins that I tried to make a giant cage for outside. As you can see right here, I live in Arizona, so I made this giant cage for these 2 babies, and I decked it out. I decked it out with all kinds of vegetation. I watered it a couple times a day, and all of that was not enough. They really, really need high levels of humidity. You're talking, like I said, 85% is like my main thing, but it's okay if it drops down to like 65 at a certain point of the day, and then it raises back up at another point of the day. And then of course heat. When you are making an environment wet for a reptile, heat is the most important thing to not give them a respiratory infection. Even though sailfin dragons are extremely resilient to respiratory infections because they're from the water basically, to make sure that they don't get a respiratory infection, make sure their ambient temperature is always around 85 degrees or so. So you can see like in that corner right there, it's hard for you to see, but I can see it's 83 or 88. Let me see. Yep, 83 in that corner, but that's because I got the door open right now and it's letting in cool air. But they also have a much warmer zone up here into the hundreds that they could bask in. All right, they're all in the lip here. Let's see if they jump in. Sometimes they scatter and jump in here. There we go. So humidity's in the 70s here. So I'm actually gonna put a little bit of water into that back corner right here. And I'll fill this up and then I'll kind of use the shower method to kind of spray it down a little. You do not want to get their food bowl wet though, and so that is a difficult balancing act that you need to figure out with these guys. Is you want the food bowl far enough from their water source that the water's not going to get in the food bowl, because it'll become mushy and full of bacteria, and that's just not good for them. So, all right, now that that's done, I'm just going to hit it with a quick shower real quick into the corners that are kind of dry. And you just want to make sure you don't get these bulbs wet. There is a warning label on those bulbs to make sure that they don't get wet, because how hot they get, you want to make sure that it's not getting blasted by like some cold water real quick, because that could make the bulbs pop. I love seeing them chill in a new bowl of fresh water. They're just truly amazing animals. And this is why I want to build a full large cage with filtrated water for these guys, especially as they grow up, because these guys are the baby version of this. This is our 8 foot long, 4 foot wide, 4 foot high grow tent that we have for our giant black Sulawesi sailfin dragon, an amazing species. We're not gonna do a video on this guy today. We have some videos out there of this guy, and we're shooting a video series, how to train your dragon with this guy. So check that out. If that video series is done, I'll also leave a link to it here in the top right corner with the little I, letter I, like internet, and you can go and watch those videos. But look at that tail, amazing animal. I love these guys, love them, love them, love them. There's one more impressive shot of this guy, and now in the light you can really see their beautiful blue eyes, and see how his face was a little bashed in when we got him, but it's healing nicely now because of the soft walls. And you don't want this up against the wall, because he'll run into it and then he'll hit the wall, if you know what I mean. Like, so if you've noticed, this is off the wall a little bit. There's like a 4-inch gap back there, so that as he runs into the back of that wall from time to time, he doesn't hurt his face. And he has a 28-quart water tub as well. So, and you can see he gets his banana, his super worms, his spring mix, and he gets the same powder mixture of 1 part osteoform to 3 parts vianate as the leopard geckos. This is just a cool shot of these 3 guys chilling in their fresh water. They love it. Look, buddy, they definitely look at you. They're kind of more like birds, where they look at you and observe you. Now, when you're working with this many animals in one cage, you always want to do a numbers check. So there's 5 in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here, which is what it should be. Make sure no one's tail is caught on anything, because they do have these long whip-like tails. We got 1, 2, 3 in here. See, this is what they do in the wild. They just chill on the banks of the water and everything like that. Really cool. There should be 2 in here. Make sure no one's caught. 1 in here, and then make sure all the zippers tied, and tied. I always go through this check like 5 times a day, because I'm always worried about them getting out, and we have a cat, and that could be a big problem, so I always check that stuff. I just realized I never shot an outro for that video, so it is the evening of July 4th, around 11:19 p.m. We just got back from seeing some fireworks in the local Gilbert area here. There was a really cool park that we went to. My niece and nephew were there, my sister, my brother-in-law, my parents. It was amazing. So happy belated July 4th. Thank you guys for watching this video. What did you think about this? Do you want to see more of all the species we keep? We got tegus, we got ball pythons, we got gargoyle geckos, we got sailfin dragons, and of course, our fan favorite leopard geckos. Do we have anything else? Whitney won't let me get tarantulas, scorpions, or venomous. I don't think I would get venomous even if I could right now, but definitely no tarantulas, no scorpions, because Whitney's not into that. So what else? I do have a Dumerose boa. I do have some Coleonyx geckos. Let me know if you want to see a Coleonyx gecko video. That's like the that's like the Western USA cousin of the leopard gecko. So anyway, love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, have a geeky gecko great day. Peace.